Okay, guys, this is Moshe coming to you from Israel in the Galilee. And today is the 29th of May. It's 7:45 in the morning. And our weather is pretty moderate here. What are we looking at? 69 now, 81 high, and low is 64. Tomorrow it's 84 high. And then on Saturday we hit 93, then we go back down into the 80s again. I think it's probably something to work with the crops, but Jehovah knows these things and I don't. I just guess, It may be something unrelated, I have no idea. Okay. What we're going to do today is spiritual warfare for today. And I'm going to cover what's going on in the news also, because there's some stuff that's worth paying attention to. And I'm going to go into the live stream and make sure we got a live stream, and then put a post up, and then we'll get going. Give people a chance to come in and so forth. All right. Live stream and then put a post up. It looks like we're good with sound and picture. We've got moderators. Thank you, moderators. And I have moderators. Okay. And let me get my post up. And I'm not going to be talking while I put my post up. Whoa. Something doesn't look right here. Hold on. No, typoed. Let me get this. Thinking thing. This. I think I finally got it. Yep, I got it. Okay. All right, I'm going to do some praise. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 All right, we'll go through what's going on with the world and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. With Russia, Ukraine, they're having massive drone wars, and they're apparently removing the restrictions on what Ukraine can target with the missiles given to it by other countries and the range of them. But I think if they get the Taurus, which they may already have, they may not. I believe it'll go 300 miles. So that's roughly 100 miles more than they've been able to work with. So they'll be able to hit deeper into Russia and cause more infliction and, pain and suffering to Russia, which is the goal. And Trump is apparently expressing anger at Putin for not wanting to make a ceasefire with Ukraine. Well, Trump is Trump, okay? So Trump will probably give Ukraine more longer range weapons and so forth. And what will Putin do? Nothing. You really think when Putin's having all this trouble with Ukraine that Putin's going to start attacking NATO? Do you really believe that? I don't. The only way out for Putin and Iran is if North Korea and China start attacking various American interests wherever they are in the world. It doesn't matter, as long as they start creating a lot of problems for America with death and destruction. Then Putin and Iran could add into the fracas and come out. In other words, overwhelm the United States. Because it's probably, with his sanctions debacle, there's probably not, tariffs and stuff, I should have said. There's probably not a lot of countries that are going to be so, let's go help America, they're such a good friend, Now, the courts in America just said that Trump does not have the authority to set tariffs. I think the Constitution goes to the Fed on this, but maybe it means Congress. I'm rather sure that the federal government has the right to impose tariffs on goods imported into the United States. There's no doubt about that. But who in the federal government has this right is, it gets a question. So it might be Congress, it might be Congress and the president together. I'm not sure what they did. But because they said Trump didn't have the right to do it, the chances are it doesn't unilaterally fall in the president's lap. It probably does fall in Congress's lap. So the Trump administration is appealing it. So his great heyday with tariffs may fall apart. It already has. They're appealing it. So I don't think they're going to get very far with the appeal. But you don't know. They're going to make a good argument. I don't know how well it's going to work. I have no idea. If Trump has to go to Congress and get these things approved, tariffs, I don't know how well he'll do. Probably not anywhere near as extreme as what he's doing now. So people are waking up to Trump being ineffective in a lot of ways, and very effective in other ways, He's still doing the stupid dance with Iran on the nuclear facilities. Iran is saying, well, we might, in other words, as in maybe, allow inspections of our nuclear facilities, but they want all their sanctions lifted, and they want all their frozen money returned and stuff like that before they get anywhere with it. Look, is Trump the village idiot? No. obviously, once Iran gets the sanction money that's being frozen and sanctions are relieved, and they get their money moving again, they're gonna renege on on the inspections, or they'll allow inspections of some facilities and deny the existence of others. They're definitely not going to, play nice. They never do. So that's, you're not going to, what the heck is this? I don't even know. Some idiots. Oh gosh, I gotta get rid of this. How do I get out of this? Some stupid app. I got rid of it. Actually, let me see if I can delete this thing before it bothers me again. Okay, I got rid of it. Now, the IRGC, some generals said they're activating their sleeper agents inside the United States and the UK. Now, they said this while they're negotiating with the United States. Do you understand this? Okay. And I don't know what said sleeper agents are going to be doing, but they're also talking about Iran made some sort of a pledge or promise or a guarantee or something that that these sleeper agents are, glorious martyrs for Islam, and that they will support the surviving families of these hostages, of these sleeper agents, which, okay, great. So why would Iran announce the activation of sleeper agents instead of just doing it? See what I'm saying? It's like they're trying to come up with some sort of a threat against America. And I'm sure Trump didn't like this because they did it rather publicly, although the American media won't carry the story. Around the world, it's been picked up. So, what do we glean from this? Right now, nothing. We don't know what's going on with this yet. Could be a lie, could be true, could be a negotiating tactic, it could be all the above. I don't know. Okay? So, Russia and Ukraine are going to keep knocking each other's lights out. If anything, what we might see is NATO and Europe get worse and worse with Russia using Ukraine, and then maybe even going beyond that. Okay? Putin attacking, I don't see it. Putin's not winning the war. That's Ukraine. Now he's going to, at the same time, tangle with NATO when he can't really handle Ukraine. And now we're going to think he's going to take on NATO at the same time? Why would you think that's real? I don't know why people believe that. That would mean Putin's absolutely insane. No, Hitler did insanity when he spread himself out too thin and went after Russia while he was fighting a lot of other countries. So, yeah, Russia could make a stupid mistake like Hitler. It's a possibility. But it'll prove devastating to him. And I don't see any signs of that being that stupid, you know. Iran is threatening Israel again. You know, the standard operating procedures. We hit the Yemen airport in Sana'a last night again. Israel did. And we damaged it. They were using it for some flights. They rehabbed it a little bit, and then we went back and hit it again, and possibly some other areas. I think ports as well. I'm not sure. So they got some more blows, but is that going to stop the Houthis? No, no. You don't stop criminally insane lunatics, okay? Not that way. You stop them when they have no weapons to fight with. That stops them. Or they're dead. That's it. That's when they stop. So 62 people were arrested in Israel yesterday for storming the Likud headquarters. The Likud is the political party, the largest one in Israel, that Netanyahu runs. He's the head of the party. And they stormed it. So the people are beginning to get sick and tired of Netanyahu dragging out the war. Okay? It's getting harder and harder for people to deal with, all right? So it looks like maybe there's a beginning of a waking up here. We'll have to watch. Let's see what else I can tell you about this. Israel has deployed soldiers by the border of Lebanon now. And the Lebanese government counter-deployed their soldiers at the same points in the same point in the border for some reason, as a checkmate against us going back into Lebanon. I don't know. And it appears that the soldiers are building a land embankment. In other words, they're piling up earth to, I guess, block attacks coming from Lebanon. It could be shooting attacks, line of fire. If you put a big mountain up that's, 40, 50 feet, or that's not a big mountain, but I guess that's a big mountain, then they can't use straight ahead line of fire with anti-tank rockets at Israeli vehicles and stuff like that, and people. They can't use sniper fire or rifle fire or machine gun fire. They could use artillery and drones and stuff like that, but that wouldn't be the purpose of the mound. The mound would be to stop cross-border firing. Could be a preemptive move to protect Israel if we attack Iran, that the Hezbollah don't try to, start shooting at us or run over across the border and cause us a lot of problems. But the mound is going to slow them down if they're going to try to run the border. In terms of, it's not going to be a highly effective method of stopping that. I think it's to stop line of sight shootings, because they can't see with the big mound. They got to go over it. And that has to be like shooting blind with mortar and artillery, because they don't have radar down there, so, And, Netanyahu's great big, invasion in Gaza with all the military. I mean, there's nothing much going on. The humanitarian aid is coming in, and there was people that robbed a warehouse for flour yesterday. The American distribution companies are changing their approach. They're going to be distributing flour directly to the people, not to the bakeries. So the people can cook their own breads and whatever else they want to make with the flour. So the Hamas is playing a game to buy time, which Netanyahu appears to be enjoying. And they said, oh, we're going to accept the Witkoff proposal for a ceasefire. But they didn't. They're just talking trash. And Witkoff said that, their demands were not consistent with what his proposal was. So he says he feels very optimistic about it. And he's going to make some modifications and present it to him again, and he feels very good about it. Well, this is standard operating procedure for over a year and a half. Oh, we feel very good about a ceasefire. Same with Iran. Oh, we feel very good about it. With Russia, Ukraine, oh, we feel very good about it. It never comes to pass. They're afraid. The nations are scared. They listen to the demons, and the demons are scared. They know they're at critical mass here. And they're afraid that if the wars break out, they're going to lose their dominion. So they're trying to put a lid on the wars, except with Israel. They love to see Israel get wiped out. But the other stuff, they're obviously scared. They appear to me that they're scared. They don't know what to do. Which is a problem of a sort, but Jehovah's in control. And they don't get their ceasefires, they get their negotiations, is what they get. Hang on a second. It's very annoying with all this nonsense going on, but Jehovah knows what he's doing, I assume. How can he not? We don't know what he's doing, but he knows what he's doing. So we just plod on. How do I get out of this? There it is. So we just plod on, and it's pretty, these are very uncomfortable days, if you haven't noticed. It's uncomfortable for them, too. The news channels are trying to scare everybody, and if they're not trying to scare people, they're trying to sell you on lies that everything's going to be okay, and all of this stuff. All right. So Elon Musk is quitting the government. Apparently he didn't like Trump's big beautiful bill or something like that. So what? We knew he was going to leave anyway. Big deal. And, Trump ends badly with a tremendous amount of people. They start out, Trump's praising him, everything's good, and then a few months later, Trump's at odds with them and wants them out. So the thing with Elon Musk doesn't surprise me. Trump may have told Elon he wants him out, but I'll let you resign so you could save face. That could have happened. I don't know. Musk was in there temporarily to cut a lot of the fat out of the government agencies, and he did it, and then he's got to go deal with his own businesses. What else? Let's go into spiritual warfare. I'm noticing that they're coming after me massively these last few days. Okay, they're coming at me and they're trying to overwhelm me. Okay. And I got this cough thing out of nowhere. I don't know what the heck it is. I don't feel sick. I don't quite grasp what it is. It did get a little bit better, so please keep praying for that cough to heal up in me and completely go away quickly. I appreciate that. And I'm not understanding how they got at me, you know? But I'm getting it all around, guys. They're coming at me like big time, okay? And the way to deal with that is, number one, you could, just pray, forget about it. Number two, you can go on defensive fighting. And number three, you could do defensive fighting and offensive, which is the best way. Because then you bring the fight to them and they got to deal with the fight. Now, where are their vulnerabilities? Their vulnerabilities are they've got to keep huge amounts of people in deception. Okay? They're dedicated to this. Now, can we use our tactics to so-called set people free and maybe some of them will come to the faith? Yeah. What does that do to them? Well, let's say you go after a local church in your neighborhood that's got, 2,000 or 3,000 people or something like that, and you toss the whole place, right? You cancel witchcraft, spells, enchantments. You bind the unclean spirits from being inside the grounds and the buildings that the church owns. For a period of time, they're not allowed to come in. They can't appear to anybody in there, nor communicate with anybody in there, nor help that church or the members or the employees or the volunteers in any way, shape, or form for, say, a year. And, you just basically tie them up like that, right? Now, what happens? Well, they got to try to shore it all up. Not easy for them. Now, they're witches in the church they can deal with. But the church members that are not knowingly serving the unclean spirits, that's a problem. Because they're going to start losing desire to be in the church or go to the church. Remember, you toss them. So the unclean spirits, they receive another spirit, an unclean spirit. That unclean spirit's not in them anymore. Does that mean that these people are going to get saved? Probably they won't. But can the demons take a chance on that? No. this makes a lot of work for them. Okay? Makes a lot of work for them. Now, other ways to make a lot of work for them are, well, you can toss the prisons. Same thing in the prisons. That'll make life hard for them. Not that they're going to worry much about that, but it's more, we're just trying to create a way to wear them down. What they're trying to do to us, we want to do to them. We want to wear them down. We want to make them run in circles and get nowhere. They can't go ahead. They're just going back in circles. They're not moving ahead. They're just trying to hold what they already have. And we want to push it back so they don't even have that. Okay? And we could do it. If we decide to, we can do it. Okay? Now, other places you could go are go after are the local governments, cities, counties, states, the Fed if you want, but cities, counties, and states, the Congress, the courts, the law enforcement, mayors, deputy mayors, board of supervisors, governors, deputy governors, the state legislature, and you start, tossing them and binding them from coming back and bind them from working with these people or guiding them or leading them or directing them or communicating with them or appearing to them for a period of time. A year should do it. And that will mess them up because they're not going to be able to operate these governments correctly. Okay? And these people are going to be sucking wind as to what they should do in terms of making decisions. A lot of them will make decisions that the unclean spirits probably consider the wrong decision. And it's just going to make life harder on them. Now, I know a lot of us have been sick, and that's kind of perplexing to me. And they're just going after us too much. And I think we need to every day set aside time. Listen, even if it's 15 or 20 minutes, you're going to create a lot of damage in 15 and 20 minutes. If you could do 30 minutes, 45 minutes, much more damage. Okay? Every day. Every day. And it'll start compounding on them. Okay? Going after the churches makes a lot of trouble for them. Okay? A lot of trouble. Going after businesses makes minimal trouble for them. Okay? Going after government agencies makes pretty good trouble for them. Okay? What about doing spiritual warfare dumps on airports? Everybody in the airport on the ground, in the tarmac, in the lounges, in the parking lot. That does a lot of good because you get a good cross-section of their servants. And it's unexpected. Just go and, look for online list of international airports. Okay, will that cause them problems? Yeah, because you're going to be hitting people from all different walks of life that are serving these bums, these unclean spirits. Okay? See, their strength is people serving them. Okay? That's their strength. Without the people, they don't get there. So what they try to do to us is kill us. That's their goal, is to kill us. Hang on a minute. That's what they're after, is killing us, okay? They're not that worried if you go to heaven or not. They just want to get rid of you from here. They'd rather you go to hell, but if you got to go to heaven, you go to heaven, but at least you're not down here bothering them. And if we, what does it say? These signs shall follow them that believe in my name, they shall cast out devils. Okay, what does Luke 10 say? You have power to tread over all the power of the enemy. Okay, and nothing shall by any means harm you. So we got to go after them. Okay? And if there's enough of us, the channel's grown, there's enough of us, if we, did 15, 30 minutes a day, every day, it would get them so badly. Now, if you want to go after governments, go after governments. Go after their leaders, their Congress, their courts. What do you do with the courts? Well, I command all you unclean spirits not to be in any of these courtrooms, nor appear to anybody in there, nor guide or lead or direct anybody in there, nor have any influence in these places. And you're further bound from influencing any court decision or any court process for the next year continuously, beginning now. And you shall not attempt to do any influencing of the courts or the jury or the prosecutors or the defense or the judges, etc. And that will make trouble for them, but it's not going to be monumental because they know the judges are rotten and serving them, but it's going to create more problems for them. Not huge, but problems, okay? Not huge. Listen, I understand there's 35 or 45,000 denominations. That sounds shocking to me. I heard it was 3,500. I don't believe it's that many, but I don't know. But there's about 2 billion people going to the Catholic and the so-called Christian churches. So if you start tossing those, you're going to create a lot of problems for them. A lot. I'm telling you, that's going to be a lot of man hours for them, or demon hours. They're going to have to put in a lot of time on this. Okay? I'm thinking. Going after the news media is a good one. That'll create a lot of problems for them because they need the news media to control the people. Okay? That makes trouble for them. Look, you could go after anybody you want. Go look up the Standard & Poor's 100 or the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which I think is 30. And, toss all the company, all the employees, the board of directors, and cancel the witchcraft spells, enchantments, bind them from helping the company or doing anything for the company. You could do that. You could stop them from helping governments, and you could stop them from helping individuals or companies or all of that for a period of time. You got to specify the time. I would go for a year. Okay? And they don't have a workaround because what you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. So you're binding the unclean spirits from doing anything to help or benefit or guide, control, or threaten any of these corporations or governments, city, county, state, federal, And you're blocking them from doing anything. So their crap falls apart. Okay? And then all of a sudden, they got a lot of bigger problems to worry about than the likes of us. Okay? And we keep doing it. We don't stop doing it. And they will grow weary. They will make mistakes. They will get frustrated and act stupidly. They are not gods, okay? They're not that, okay? Now, there's fallen angels. And they're probably the powers of the air in Ephesians, okay? Now, there's millions and millions of angels, and a third of them got kicked out of heaven. So we got to deal with a huge amount of these fallen angels that are rotten to the core, okay? But they also went and laid up with the women, and they had these giants. And according to the book of Enoch, the giants all died, and that's who the unclean spirits are, other than the fallen angels, is the spirits of these abominable creations where the angels laid up with humans, and they're not ever supposed to do that. Now, the question we have, what I would pose is, did God put the puff of life in these abominations, or is this something that just the angels managed to do on their own? Okay, and God didn't, assist with it, which is what I'm guessing. I don't know for sure. I'm guessing that's the case. And they're the ones running around causing the trouble. Now, their spirits may not, be the same as the life forms that the Lord sanctioned or wanted, like humans and like animals and stuff like that. So they might not have any kind of a future beyond what is now. In other words, they may not ever be in the lake of fire. They may just be gone. They might just be able to be erased, like they never happened. So that might be why they're wandering the earth as a punishment now. Because when it's time to end the earth after the millennium, they are just going to be, poof and disappear. They may not go to the lake of fire because they may they just may not be eternal. They're just something, else, some idiot creation that these jackass angels did. Okay? They're not the brightest lights in the harbor, and I think it's them that go inside dogs and cats and animals and things like this. I don't think the angels like doing that too much, because if they do go in and you toss them, then they got to go to the dry place where they suffer, and then they try to come back. So I think they try to stay more like aloof, and be, ministers and, administrators and stuff like that. Now, I don't know how many of these abominations that the angels created laying up with the human women, I don't know how many of them there are. And I went and was listening to Enoch to see if they were unable to reproduce, and I didn't get a clear reading on that. Maybe it's someplace else. So maybe they were able to reproduce. Because, we see there was, there was a pharaoh that was huge. Well, there was a Roman, no, I think, I'm not sure about the pharaoh. I know there was a Roman Caesar that was about 7'2", 7 feet 2 inches, something like that. Okay. And then we had King Og, the last of the giants, and he was, I don't know, 9, 10, 12 feet, something like that. Goliath was, they say, about 9 feet. Now, I don't know how big the originals were, but they might have been bigger. And then over time, these abominations reproduced with women and generated more giants, but they were probably shrinking. And now that line would have had to have been in Noah because he was him and his family were the only ones that survived the flood. Now, the spirits of these abominations from the angel and the women, they were never in heaven. They were never angels. They're idiots, okay? And they're cursed. And they're mean and rotten. They were when they were on earth alive. They were making the people serve them and feed them. And, the angels loved them. It says that in Enoch. And they had the angels teaching them witchcraft, sorcery, spells, enchantments, When you read Enoch, the angels taught the humans how to make swords and shields and armor so they could go around and kill each other. They also taught the humans how to use like paper and pen and write stuff down. Where God says he never intended for man to be writing things down because it led to sin. They write falsehoods and stuff like that. Now, everything the fallen angels do is darkness, and everything the demons do is darkness. Okay? There is no light in them. They have none. Their light is darkness, really, So you can bind them from working against you. Okay? Just stop them, cut them off at the pass for a year, let's say. That's plenty of time. I command all you unclean spirits who in the past or present have worked in a work against me or targeting me or my family or anything I own, possess, or control or set up my hand to. You shall cease and desist any such work, start no such new work for the next 12 months continuously, and you shall be able to do nothing or take any action or work any works against me using any means that you could use. You shall not be able to do this. And these commands are set in place irrevocably. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach. Okay? And that should stop it. Now, it's better if you have, much better, if you have somebody to agree with on this. Where two or more are gathered in my name, there I am with them. And when you have two agreeing, it's way more powerful. Way more powerful. Okay? So that's another spiritual warfare tool we have, two or more agreeing, right? And binding. But the important thing here is you start protecting yourself like this. Command the unclean spirits that they're not able to come into your property your apartment, your house, your land, or your vehicles. They're not able to come in, and if you give permission for some person to come in or an animal to come in, it does not mean that any unclean spirit inside this person or animal can come in. You may not come in. As soon as the person or the animal or the life form enters the property, you have to immediately depart from this person and remain outside the boundaries of this property. And these commandments are set in place for the next 12 months continuously, beginning now, B'Shem Yeshua Mashiach. Then further command them not to be able to surveillance you and your property and your vehicle and your pets, using any means at their disposal. So cut them off from knowing what you're doing. Why should they know? This creates tremendous paranoia with them. Oh, yeah. Oh, does it ever. Okay? All right? Now, you could also tell them they can't be over your property either for this period of time. Always for this period of time. Okay? If you think they're going to observe you from a neighbor's property or apartment, bind them from doing that. Okay? Just keep boxing them in. They got to listen. The only thing they can do is to make you think it's not working. That's their strongest defense. But it does work. I'm going to take a break. You can put questions up. I'll be right back. What you guys got to understand is we're the only ones running around with the true gospel that I'm aware of. And I'm pretty sure I'd know about it if there were others, but I can't guarantee it. It could be going on in Russian, Chinese, this, that. I don't believe it's going on in Israel. And I'm in Israel, and that's where he accepts you. So I don't think it's going on. Not yet. And they're trying to kill you, is what they want to do. Now, they'll take causing you financial problems, problems with neighbors, problems with families, problem with this, problem with that, problem with the job. But their ultimate goal is to destroy you. Because that's the only point where you're no longer a threat to them, when they destroy you dead. And like I said, they'd rather see you go to hell, but if you're going to go to heaven, it's going to keep you off their back. And they're happy to do that too. They're going to lose, and there's nothing they can do about it, but it sure stinks for us. We've got, a very rough time. I mean, they're really barreling down at me now. They know what's going on. They're really barreling down at me. And I'm sure they're barreling down at a lot of you, especially the ones doing the spiritual warfare. Now listen, don't get into a churchianity mindset. Okay? When he sent the 70 out in Luke 10, they come back and they said, the demons are subject unto us in your name. That's more than we just threw them out of people. Subject unto us. Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. What you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. You can bust them up. You can tread over all the power of the enemy. And you need to, or they're going to keep getting you and bothering you and making your life miserable, bothering you with your families, your neighbors, your job, your business, your finances, your health, your car, your electric light, or anything they can bother you with. This is the scum of the earth. These are abominations. These are disgusting pieces of crap. Okay? And they're fighting for their own existence out of the pit. And we want them in the pit. And then we want them in the lake of fire. And that's how it'll end. These signs shall follow them that believe in my name. They shall cast out devils. The church doesn't do that. Oh, some of the phony pastors like Copeland and them, they go through the motions and stuff. But these people aren't tossing demons out of anybody. They're in the church. They just go through the motions. Maybe they think they are or something like that. But, I don't think so. But anyway, now I came across a guy, just to give you an example how desperate they're getting. This guy is teaching against the churches voraciously. Okay? He's slandering the churches, saying they're going to hell and all this stuff. So I stumbled onto this guy. Maybe I was supposed to. So I found this guy and I said to myself, maybe this guy's teaching my teachings, not that I care. So I started listening to him, and not really, no, he's not. And I listened to him and he kicks against the church so bad. I mean, not so bad, so hard. It sounds like me. But what was wrong about this, I'll tell you. This was a Satan bot, very clever one, rather well-schooled in a lot of scriptures. It was shocking to me. He knew a lot of scriptures. Did he ever use Galatians 5:19 to 21 to convict the people? No, he did not. There's something wrong right there. Okay? Next, does he tell the people that they're in Israel? No, he doesn't. What he was telling the people is this: instead of following the law, and we know, Matthew 5:17, 18, the law's not dead, As long as there's a heaven and earth, not one jot or tittle shall be done away with from the Lord. He confuses the people and tells them they got to follow the 10 Commandments. Well, that's not what the scriptures are telling us. They're telling us the law. Okay? The 10 Commandments is different. So he doesn't want them knowing the truth about the law, because that would mean you've got sacrifices and offerings and a temple and the glory of God of Israel. No, he doesn't want that. So he's into the 10 Commandments with them, right? And then instead of telling them they're Israel, he tells them they're the 144,000, which is Israel. It's not them. So he's got them all confused and bewildered. But the big giveaway about this wicked person was this person curses profoundly during the live stream. I saw a video he did where in the title, he did the FU word. In the title. And these dumbbells listened to him. You see, what he's doing is he's telling the people, what comes out of my mouth comes from my heart. That's the scripture. And he's got foul language coming out of his mouth. And the people should know not to listen to him. But the people aren't that smart, so they're following him. So what is Satan doing? He's trying to pick up the people that are out of the churches and bring them into groups that will just direct them into different errors. You understand? I was pretty surprised about that. Now, the guy's a liar, and he's obviously a liar. He's got a rather small channel. And he talks about, I've gone to hundreds and thousands of these church people, and, he uses big numbers, which I think is rather absurd, Yeah, so you see, that's some of the extent they're going to out of fear. They're full of fear. Now, the servants of the unclean spirits, the people that serve them, they're in a delusion. They don't necessarily have the fear. Some do. They're frustrated, they're agitated, they're not happy, but they're generally not in fear. They're too stupid and blinded for the fear. Okay? They don't know enough to really be afraid. Now, they have doubt and hesitations, like they're afraid to start the wars. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. Let me look at the live stream, see if we have questions. They have no idea what they're doing. But everything they accomplish is done through people. Let's see if I got any questions. I don't think so. Save Myanmar. I don't know much about what's going on with Myanmar. Is there a war in Myanmar? We actually operate in English here, so putting up Hebrew is, I know what you're trying to do, but, they don't know what it means, so better working with English, okay? I prefer the Book of Enoch by R. Period H. Period Charles, published by Oxford in 1917. Now, there's other stuff out there that is published by other publishing houses. It's the same thing. You want to look for R. Period H. Period Charles. The phony Book of Enoch that they put out around the late 1980s is done by a guy named Charles Worthy. No coincidence here. They were trying to deceive people, and that's a complete piece of junk. Okay, it's just a nonsense book. So I'm not seeing any questions. Okay. Um, I can't stress enough to you how I think our lives will be much easier and better if we pray for each other, and of course, if we do the spiritual warfare. These signs shall follow them that believe in my name, they shall cast out devils. Well, the church doesn't do that, okay? And then they come back and they said, even the demons are subject to us in your name. They told that Yeshua. Subject, it means submitted. See, you've got to take the dominion over them before they're going to submit. They're not just going to go, like you come home and your dog runs over to you, lays down and submits to you. They're not going to do that. You got to make them submit to you. And then they have no choice. So pieces of garbage, okay? And you just got to go after them, guys. Or they're going to keep coming after us, and we're not going to be having a good time. And things aren't going to go well for us. And they're going to use your family. They're going to go try to get your family to turn against you. That's their standard operating procedure. Okay? They'll use a spouse. They'll use children. They'll use parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, roommates, anybody. They're desperate garbage buckets. They're desperate and they're scared. And what are they scared of? The very things I'm telling you today. Because that's curtains for them. Curtains for them. If you do it. If you're scared, then you better go to the Lord and ask him why you're scared. Don't you believe the scriptures? Nothing shall by any means harm you in Luke 10. So why do you make believe that why are you scared of them? Don't be scared of them. They're worthless. They're just a bluff. I gotta do this for a few seconds. No big deal. It's the supermarket telling me what they're out of stock on. And let me see. care of that. So, if you're not going to do this, then expect to have more problems. Because they're going to say, well, we can pick this guy off, this gal off. They don't fight back. These signs shall follow those that believe in my name, they shall cast out devils. It doesn't say these signs shall follow those that believe. They will go to the other believers who do have the faith to do the demon tossing for them because they're afraid to do it themselves. See, that's not it. You can't be afraid of them. Okay? You're the only ones running around with the true gospel. You're the only ones who are a real threat to them. Okay? You're the only ones that I know of that really understand spiritual warfare and will do it. You're a real threat to them. And they're putting a lot of attention on all of us. That's why so many are getting sick. And we got to come back at them and jump on their heads, both feet, with cleats on, so to speak. Don't show any mercy to them. Don't back up from them. Just push them hard. Hard. Don't hit them with just a fist. Don't hit them with just brass knuckles. Hit them with brass knuckles with spikes coming out, spiritually. Just plow them. They're garbage. They're your enemy. They're trying to destroy you, your family. They'll kill your spouse. They'll kill your kids. They'll kill anything you have. They'll do anything to you to hurt you. Anything. Anything and everything. Okay? You've got to stop them. And the way you do it is you bring the fight to them. That's the last thing they ever want to see is you take the fight to them. And you could do it right from the safety and security of your living room with your feet up. You could be drinking a cold soda or whatever and just go after them. And the more you do it every day, the better it is for everybody. If you can do it for a half hour a day, great. If you could do it for an hour a day. If you could do it for 10 minutes, 3 times a day, that's good too. The more you do, the more crazy they get. Change your targets. You can go for different national governments, state governments, corporations. Go to the stock exchanges when they're trading and get them all out of the stock exchange building. Bind them from having anything to do with manipulating the stock exchange or the prices of the stocks or anything like that for a long period of time. Wreck their markets. Go after the gambling casinos. Go after the futures exchange, the commodities exchanges. Stop them from doing anything to influence and control the prices for a period of time, like a year. That's all that you need. Collapse the markets, make them crazy. Go after different militaries, get the generals, get the leaders. Go after people at different airports around the world. Go after people on different airlines around the world while they're in the air. So let them take off with the demon in them, and then mid-flight they don't have the demon in them. You think they're going to start thinking the plane's going to crash or something? What do you think? These demons are their whole life. These people dedicate their lives to these pieces of crap demons and fallen angels. They're stupid. You want to go after the cruise ships? Be my guest. Any of these things require a lot of work from the demons to keep the people in the game. If they get tossed, And none of the demons come to help them or shore them up, or other people don't help them. The people are going to give up on the demons. So can we stop the demons from coming back and helping them and shoring them up? Yeah, you can. You can. Cut them off from having any contact with people. With the stop the demons from having any contact with the people you tossed for a period of time. You can do that too. You're just going to make problems for them. They're not going to understand your spiritual warfare for a while. They're not used to it. They don't know what to do about it. They got to try to figure it out. And if you keep changing your targets and you're going to overwhelm them. Little old you can overwhelm them. But if we do it in number, they're not going to be coming back and bothering us. They're going to try to stay away from us. But don't stop. Don't stop. Satan doesn't stop. You keep going. You never let up, because as soon as you let up, they'll come back at you. Just keep it up, and they're going to fall apart. And don't get complacent and don't let up. Just keep going. Okay? You can go after churches in other countries. That creates problems for them. There's big churches in South Korea. Of course, the United States. They got big churches in Central and South America. Look them up. You can get the denomination leaders. That's not going to get you too far. You can go after everybody that owns a Rolls Royce or a Bentley or a Ferrari or Bugatti or a Lamborghini, right? That ought to be fun. Everyone that owns private jets, yachts, whatever you want to do. You could go after TV producers, news producers, newspapers. Anything you do is going to be better than nothing. Okay? But the more we do, the worse it gets for them. And they'll start making more and more mistakes. And by that I mean the people that serve them will start making mistakes, because they're not going to have the counsel of the demons. And they're going to be, at first, not wanting to do anything. But after a while, they'll have to make some decisions without the unclean spirits. And that's when stuff goes bad for them, because there's no coordination. So if you like being scared of unclean spirits, even though it says nothing shall by any means harm you in Luke 10, then you're not going to do it. If you don't believe the scripture, these signs shall follow them that believe in my name, they shall cast out devils. If you don't believe in that, you're not going to do it. What kind of believer are you then? Well, you're a non-believer. You're not a real believer. Yeshua told us this is an attribute of a real believer. So if you are a real believer and you do have the true gospel, they're going after you. And they're making your life hard. And they'll keep making it harder and harder as long as we let them. But we don't have to let them. It's the churchianity teaching that makes us think we got to put up with it. We don't. Lord, even the demons are subject unto us in your name. You understand? You don't have to be subject to them. It's church teaching from the devil that makes you think that. So you got your own destiny in this regard. Do you want to follow the scriptures and not have them bother you all the time? The 70 that Yeshua went out were getting a lot of good work done. good fruit, good work, because they were making the demons subject unto them, so they weren't letting the demons mess it up. And that's the next result. When we get this done, then we can start working the gospel, starting to lead people to the true gospel. Don't be overly optimistic that the people in the churches are going to, come out of this in volume or anything like that. It's getting very late in the game and they're still there. It doesn't matter that much who you go after, just so much that you're going after something important to them or valuable to them. So they've got to dedicate a lot of time to it. And believe me, they will fall apart. They will fall apart unless you give up and you say, oh, I did this for 3 days, that's enough, No, you keep doing it till you get redemption. That's when you stop after redemption. You just keep pounding them and pounding them and pounding them and pounding them. And don't let up. The more you can do, the better for them, the better. Okay? And that's us helping each other, because the more of us, the more that we all do, the worse it becomes for them, and the worse it becomes for them, the less they can do to us. Don't think they're going to come back at you and hit you hard. You're going to bind them from doing anything to you. And then you're going to mess up their other works with people. And they're going to start getting all screwed up. I've never heard of demons committing suicide, but I imagine they could get depressed. Don't be afraid of them. They're afraid of you, and they're bluffing you and deceiving you and lying, and you think they're not afraid. They're very afraid. And that's why they're attacking you. They're trying to get you dead, or real sick, or scared, or worried, and it's just a bluff. It's just a bluff. But they can be dangerous. Go after them and don't stop. Go get them. All right. Please pray for me and my wife. Pray for our peace, safety, protection, joy, healing. Pray for our animals and pets to be happy, healthy, and whole. And pray for better videos. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And you could ask me questions about spiritual warfare. I have a Telegram channel just on spiritual warfare. And there's some imitators that made channels that sound a little like mine. They're not real. They're not teaching you the real stuff, okay? And I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach. And you can ask me questions if you need to with the email. It's israelgiving7@gmail.com. See, if they were in control, this channel never would have existed. Okay. They don't have the control. All I could say is go get them. And I thank you, and I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach, and I'm out.